This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Now I got my mic up. There he is, locked and loaded, and full of Red Bull. Right? How many did you have in the game? How many Red Bulls?
I had 2 16 ounces, and right now I'm actually brewing some coffee here. Now that I'm back home, I watched the fourth quarter here at home. I was at my buddy's house for the first 3, and when it was 35-10, I told him, "Hey man, time for me to make the drive back. I think we got to get ready for the show. This one's over." But hey man, what an unbelievable comeback!
You know, it's what I was just talking about. That it's hilarious because they played like shit. They did everything to lose this game. The defense played terrible. They made all kinds of stupid penalties. Cam played sloppy. He was inaccurate. Obviously, the dumb pick six. The misuse of your timeouts towards the end, misuse of the clock. There's a laundry list. But then on the flip side, you have to say, but they still found a way to win. And that is, it's crazy, but that in itself is progress for this team. Now, do they have to learn how to put 4 better quarters together, more cleaner quarters? Yeah. But again, they probably should have lost these last 2 weeks, and they found a way to win. So, that's where I got to pump the brakes a little bit and say, hey, man, in a couple of hours, I'm going to get disappointed by the other team. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
right.
So I gotta, you gotta look big picture. You gotta look at things and appreciate them for what they are. And it was ugly and painful, but still they found a way to win.
Well, I mean, that's the difference, right? Great teams always find a way to win. You go back to the old school days. You think about Miami playing Boston College and Ed Reed returning that interception for a touchdown. In a game that they played horrible, and the Canes always play horrible in games they're not supposed to, right? They were favored by 10.5 points going to this game. They were double digit. I told you, hey, this is going to be a low scoring game. We told everybody,
Yeah, I like the under. I lost. Yeah,
Cal's defense hadn't given up more than 14 points, and at the end of the first half, it's 21-10, and you're like, man, this is going to be trouble. And then they fall behind 35-10, and you're like, it's over. They're just going to keep turning it over and making mistakes, but that's why college football is crazy, man. It really is. You want to talk about how hard it is to win now? Ask Alabama about beating Vanderbilt. Ask Tennessee about winning at Arkansas. People lose games, and as long as you have one more point than the other team, that's what you're supposed to do every single week.
Yeah, and by watching Vandy beat, Alabama, that's why I can be pissed off and frustrated about the performance, but I cannot be pissed off and frustrated about the result. And by the way, we sit here in Canes world saying, oh, the world's always against us. The world's always against us. Wesley Basaint should have been called for targeting, bro.
Absolutely.
He lowered his helmet. He lost sight of the offensive player at that point. He and he went right. He should have gotten called. And for those of us, that are always worried, the Canes never get the calls. It always goes against them. That was the break of the game right there.
100%. And then what about I don't know how many yards that pass play ended up being. I think 77 yards to Restrepo, where Cal's defense completely falls asleep at the wheel right after that on the very first play when Miami's pinned down on its own 8-yard line. I mean, it's just the amount of things that had to happen for Miami to come back to be able to win this game. We talk about the targeting, the blown coverage, Cal throwing the football instead of running it, right? When they were up 2-3 scores on Miami, they kept wanting to throw the football. It was amazing to me, all the things that had to happen. But look, man, this feels like a team of destiny in a lot of ways because they keep, they got the call last week for the Hail Mary to go their way against Virginia Tech. And then today they pull off one of the greatest comebacks in school history. And sometimes, like you said, it's just better to be talking about all the things that went wrong in a win than the other way around.
No, and again, that's where I got and by the way, kudos to Cam because guys also have a tendency sometimes when they play like shit, they
Go in the tank.
they just go in the tank, and and somehow or another he kept himself in the game, and he was active, and if this is, I'm wondering what is. So Cam is more what we've seen the last 2 weeks instead of what we saw the first 4 weeks with lesser competition, because he was able to abuse them, but now he's playing better defenses, and he has more of a tendency of making mistakes and not being as accurate, by the way, because his ball placement wasn't great today at times. You know what I mean? And so I'm
No.
just wondering, who is Cam now? Is it the guy that can abuse the easier teams, and then he's going to have his moments, but he's going to make mistakes against the better teams right now.
Yeah, I think this is the Cam Ward that we thought Miami was getting from Washington State, a guy who's going to turn the ball over, who's going to make some bad decisions. He is in a lot of ways a backyard football quarterback, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you think about a lot of the plays that he's made where he's, it's kind of like the Ben Roethlisberger thing back in the day where nobody could really sack Roethlisberger, and he just kept moving around and waiting and waiting and waiting.
The play he took the sack that Strepo's wide open in the middle of the field. Like, bro, why are you and then there's a play where the tight end is waiting for the goddamn ball, and he takes
the running backs were wide open the entire day. And I was surprised. He finally checked the ball down to Damian Martinez on that 3rd and 20. And Martinez, luckily for Miami, was able to get the first down. And keep his balance on the sideline. But you're right. I mean, these are the faults of Cam Ward. What we're seeing is why people said he was a day 2, day 3 NFL draft pick, because there are warts in his game. He is not, again, there are a lot of guys in college right now who wish they had Cam Ward's ability, right? He can throw from the different arm slots, that he can make the plays that he does. But there's a reason why he still has to prove himself. He still is making mistakes that NFL teams are not going to be willing to accept. And when you've got
a minute. Hold on, Manny.
Yeah.
Well, so what you're saying is that Miami Dolphin fans with their hypothetical top 5 pick no longer want Cam Ward.
Right. Some of them may not, because he's going to make plays like that. But you got to take the good and the bad. And that's ultimately what Mario Cristobal said, right? I'd rather have this guy than Tyler Van Dyke, who is going to make more turnovers and more mistakes. At least this guy might win us a game like he did tonight.
Oh, no. And what I've learned from Cam Ward is he's not going in the fucking tank.
No. And that's a big part of this, right? I mean, when you're a pitcher, you think about baseball, right? When pitchers get shelled, what do they do the next time they get on the mound? Do they go in the tank, or do they keep firing? And listen, Cam Ward knew damn well what he did. He knew he shouldn't have thrown the ball back across the field that led to that pick six. He knew it. It's not like he needed to be told. He made a really stupid play. Now we got to make sure that it doesn't happen again in 2 weeks when they line up against Louisville.
No, it's going to happen because he's been throwing across the field since the FAMU. He does this. This is in his DNA. He's going to take chances, and he makes plays like that too. That's the problem with that. So you're on the sideline and you're the offensive coordinator. Do you take that weapon away from him? You don't. Until
I would say this. I think
you can't do it.
You can't do it, but you can also be a little bit smarter, right? Yeah. And while you want to give this guy a leash to make the plays and to lead you to wins, Miami gets inside the 5-yard line. I think this was the score that made it 38-13, if I remember correctly. They get the ball inside the 5 and they throw 3 passes. When does a Mario Cristobal team not run it at least once in that situation and hand the ball off? Like,
by the way, I had no problem with him going for it also on 4th down early in the game.
Yeah, that's fine. That's
I was proud of Mario. I thought he would actually punt, and they failed, but I was really proud of Mario in that moment because you and I have talked about, as much as I like Mario, on game day, he has a conservative nature to him that bothers me a little bit. And that tells me that he's letting his offensive coordinator, his offensive coordinator must have told him, no, we can go, we can convert this. And he's giving him that
Listen,
lead.
you've got one of the 5 best quarterbacks in college football making plays for you every single week, and you're going to give him that leash. My thing is, at some point though, when you've got a guy like Mark Fletcher who's running the ball as well as he was tonight, okay, 7.4 yards a carry, and you're inside the 5-yard line, I'm sorry. I'm giving that guy a carry inside the 5. I'm not screwing around and putting the ball in the air.
Yeah.
I just
Super Bowl, Marshawn Lynch. I get you.
Yeah. Like at some point, you got to just, okay, listen, thanks, Cam. You brought us all the way down the field. Great job. Now our big boys are going to push some people around.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's the part of it that has to get cleaned up, because this isn't going to work against Clemson, right? Clemson's too good of a team to let you come back from 25 down to beat them. This isn't going to work against Georgia or Alabama, even though Alabama gave up all those points to Georgia. It's just not going to happen regularly against those teams, right? You can do this against Cal. You can come back and beat a Virginia Tech down 2 scores, but it's not going to happen against the best teams when you get into the playoff. And I think they just got to be more conservative when they're in the red zone. That's my one criticism for today.
Yeah, and the other thing is the penalties. This has got to be cleaned up, dude.
Yeah,
because you're in the ACC play now. The competition's better. I know you can overcome a loss, but these are all very winnable games, man. Set yourself up, but you can't. You can't just give them yards, bro. 110 yards.
It was guys selling out. It was guys, you saw the play to the running back, the 66-yarder to Ott on 4th and 1. The linebackers got to stick with his man, and they didn't. It's just there's been a lot of hero ball on defense the last 2 weeks, where guys are like, screw it, I'm going after the quarterback. Screw it, I'm blowing my assignment. And you can't have that. That's where you miss a Cam Kitchens in your secondary, because he won't allow that kind of crap to happen. He's going to tell.
Yeah, the tight end faked the screen and then took off and got the big play for the touchdown. So there's mistakes going on. But again, here's the other thing I said before you got here. I hate, let's pump the brakes again. Mario inherited a bunch of crap. He had to flush it out for the first 2 years. He really is in only year 3. So this is not really a team that's even close to finished. You're going to need another full year. I think next year, by the time you get to the end of the 4th year, is when you'll see like more of the kind of team that he probably wants, because there's still holes. There's still a lack of depth. There's still a lack of experience. There's still a lack of continuity. Of course, you got a fantastic quarterback, but there's still some holes in all those things that I talked about in and around Cam. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. But you know what? The bottom line is you need a special quarterback in today's game to get there. And this is a 9-8 win team without Cam Ward. Good and bad. And so Mario's got to continue to bring in those quarterbacks and develop an Emory Williams. Make sure Emory Williams is ready to play like this next year. Will he be? I don't know. If he isn't, then you go get a guy in the portal.
Shit, he looked good. He looked good the other day when he came off the bench, bro.
He did. But listen, that's what it's going to take, man. You gotta until you have that quarterback position every single year, like Miami had it in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
You're gonna have your years where you get to 9 wins, and then your years where you can actually compete for championships. And hopefully for Miami, this is one of those years.
All right, let's get your ass to sleep. What do you got going on in the Athletic? So folks, check you out.
I'm going to be writing a column off this game tonight, and so people can read that in the morning when I'm at the what's it called near my house, the Tire Kingdom, getting 2 new tires on my car at 9 a.m. So I will be working into the night, probably about 5 a.m., and then getting 3 hours of sleep, brother, and getting my ass up at Tire Kingdom to get some tires on the car.
All right, there you go. He'll be at Tire Kingdom. All right. By the way, we used to have a Rosa was his name, I want to say. Was the kid's name, was the son of the guy from Tire Kingdom?
Was he? I I don't remember. It's
He was
been a
on the
while.
basketball team. He was on the
Okay.
basketball. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy from Tiger Kingdom. I think his son was like a role player and all that. Anyway, follow him on Twitter. I always have useless information in my head. I'm sorry. Follow him on Twitter, Manny_Navarro. Catch his work there at The Athletic, and he'll be back on Tuesday joining us. Manny, as always, thank you, my brother. Night.
Night, brother. Take care.
You got it. There you go. The great Manny Navarro. And don't forget Caneswear. How about Sean? He is joining us, bro. That is amazing. Caneswear.com. Use the code BIGO10. Caneswear.com.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.